Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence, and today I want to talk about the first thing that I ever edited. This is before I even started learning editing at media college for doing all film sort of stuff. So this is before any of that. This is the very first thing that I ever edited. I don't actually have it anymore, but I will try and explain it to you. So in 2014, the fourth Transformers movie came out, Transformers Age of Extinction, right? It's 165 minutes long. That's 2 hours and 45 minutes of Transformers, which no Transformers film has any right being that long. And I was kind of into fan edits at the time. I liked the idea of doing fan edits. So I looked at this and I saw there weren't any fan edits of Transformers 4 out. So I thought, right, I'm going to download the film and I'm going to put it into an editing software and I'm just going to just try and chop as much out as possible. I came into a bit of a problem when I realised that the reason that the film is overlong isn't necessarily because there's a load of filler. There is some filler. However, the main reason that it's so long is because the film is trying to do like 4 movies worth of plots at the same time. So I'm going to try my best to explain what those plots are and how I managed to, tried at least, to circumvent all of that to get to what I was fairly satisfied with, a 1 hour, 59 minute cut of Transformers Age of Extinction. I just wanted to get it under 2 hours and I had to really chop as much out as physically possible. Like we're talking like little tiny frames here and there. So there are 1, 2, 3, there's about 5 plots in this film, right? So plot number 1, right? Mark Wahlberg lives in Texas and he is an inventor, scrap dealer type of guy, right? He goes to an old abandoned cinema which some bloke is running and he's selling a load of crap from it, right? So he's trying to get shot of a load of stuff. So Mark Wahlberg, the inventor, is going to go there, he's going to buy a load of crap and he's going to reverse engineer some of it to try and make a profit, right? So that he can put his daughter through college or university or whatever, right? So he gets to the old cinema and he's looking around with his employee who is played by TJ Miller, right? And TJ Miller is just really irritating throughout the entire film, just constantly trying to crack jokes and none of the jokes are funny. But regardless, right? So they get in and they're messing around for a little bit. I was able to cut some of the messing around. They find a truck that the cinema owner just didn't know was in there, right? There's a fucking truck just in the back of the cinema, and the guy who's running it, right? He's just like, oh, I don't know how that got there. I'm just selling old DVDs. Okay, so there's a truck there, right? So they buy the truck, they get it back home, right? And he's put it in the garage and he's having a look through it. He's trying to, sell it for scrap metal and stuff like that, or trying to make it work again so he can sell it off to some, trucker or something like that, right? So the truck turns out to be Optimus Prime, the leader of the fucking Autobots, right? And because this is plot 2 coming in now, after the events of the last movie, Transformers Dark of the Moon, the government and everyone has just decided that Transformers aren't welcome on Earth anymore. So we need to hunt them all down and get rid of them. It's almost some kind of allegory for like immigration or something like that, where it's just like all of these fucking, illegal aliens. They literally do say the word illegal aliens at one point in the film. He's like, it's an alien and he's here illegally. So all the Autobots, all the Decepticons, none of them are allowed to be here anymore, right? So if you find a Transformer, what you're meant to do, you're meant to call this hotline, and the hotline will send like some fucking SWAT team out to arrest the Transformer and then give you a reward, right? So TJ Miller's sat there like, let's call up the CIA, whatever, and he actually calls up the CIA directly, right? So he just calls the CIA. I'm not American, so I don't know how it works, but I'm fairly sure you can't just call CIA headquarters as a civilian, right? But anyway, maybe you can. So he calls the CIA, the fucking SWAT unit turn up, right? And they don't give him a reward. Instead, they just start trying to execute everybody, right? So now Mark Wahlberg, Optimus Prime, his daughter, and TJ Miller, and now his daughter's boyfriend, who's just turned up, They all go on the run, right? Okay, so now I need to start introducing the third plot line, right? Which is at the beginning of this movie, right? We go back 65 million years to the end of the dinosaurs, right? So there's a little the first shot of the film pretty much is a dinosaur pissing about, right? And then an alien spaceship comes down and just fucking like just blasts everything out of existence, right? Just destroys and kills everything, right? So that happens, right? And then cut to today, right? And they find a dinosaur that's made of like metal, right, in the Arctic, right? And this is a big deal, right? So that's the third plot line, and that is centered around a guy called Lockdown, who's a Transformer, who's not an Autobot or a Decepticon. Basically, Transformers is, you know, toys, but the idea is it's Autobots who are the good guys versus Decepticons who are the bad guys because they deceive people, right? So Lockdown comes about, right? And he works for the people that had them spaceships at the start of the movie, right? And the 65 million years ago, these guys called the Creators, right? And we only see their hand just sit there over an orb and just do that. That's all we see of them across the whole movie. But anyway, they're the evil people, right? And Lockdown works for the evil people. And he is working with an enclave type thing of the CIA called Cemetery Wind, which is run by the head of the CIA, who is played by Frasier, right? From the TV show Frasier, right? So that guy is called Harold Attinger, and I'm going to call him Harold Attinger throughout the rest of because he's the only name I remembered, right? So Harold Attinger has done a deal with Lockdown, right? Because even though Harold Attinger hates all the humans, he also wants to do a deal with, he hates all the Transformers, sorry. He does a deal with Lockdown, right? To sort out and get rid of all the Transformers. There's this one long scene of the CIA SWAT team fucking thing called Cemetery Wind, and they're hunting down a Transformer, and then Lockdown just shows up at the end, and he's just like, right, I'll take care of this. But even though the guy the Transformer had already been crippled by the CIA and was bleeding out, and the CIA easily could have dealt with it on their own, Lockdown turns up to have a bit of a back and forth, right? It turns out it's an Autobot, right? And the Autobot basically says, we're all being hunted, right? I don't know why he says it, because he's saying it to the hunters, right? So he starts basically just giving shit away, like information away about the Transformers, and then Lockdown fucking executes him, right? So now that that's all sorted, right? We still have 2 more plot lines to go through, by the way, that haven't even been introduced yet. And are you already confused, right? You're already confused. Like, honestly, this is as best as I can explain it, right? So, back to Mark Wahlberg, his daughter, TJ Miller, and her boyfriend, Shane, right? So Shane is a 20-year-old man who drives, I think he does like NASCAR or something like that, or some driving thing. He does like stunt sports or something like that, right? They get in this long chase where the CIA are chasing them, right? And then Lockdown starts chasing them. And in the chase, TJ Miller dies. They all get away, right? So that's 6-7 minutes of the movie just gone, right? Just on that. No plot happened there, just for them to get away. So now they've gotten away, they're hiding out in some random petrol station. There just seems to be sat there, just completely abandoned. I don't know if this is a thing in America, but it's just this, you can just go in and just like hole up. Like in Scotland, for instance, they've got these sort of little shacks that don't have locks on them. And the idea is if you're lost in the wilderness, you can stay in them overnight, right? And the point is that they don't have a lock so anyone can kind of go in there, right? It's almost like that. So Mark Wahlberg, Shane, his daughter, and not TJ Miller anymore, but like Optimus Prime is sat outside, right? This isn't one of the plot lines, but I have to talk about it. So Mark Wahlberg's daughter is played by Nicola something, right? And she is I think she was about 19 when this was filmed. And in the movie, she plays a 17-year-old, his daughter, right? Who's in high school. She starts off by going, 2 more weeks, girls, and then no more classes ever. We can get wasted all day long, right? Like that. So she's 17, young and free and stuff, but also she's not young and free because she's looking after Mark Wahlberg and like making sure he eats and stuff like that. So anyway, so Shane is a 20-year-old man, and Tessa, the daughter of Mark Wahlberg, is a 17-year-old girl, and they're fucking, right? And the movie explicitly makes it clear that they're fucking, right? So they have an entire scene dedicated to explaining the Romeo and Juliet fucking laws in Texas, which, from what I can gather, are some like way of excusing like overage people having sex with underage people, right? And then Shane, the fucking 20-year-old fucking paedophile, he just pulls out a fucking paedophile card and just is like, yeah, so because of this card, I'm allowed to have as much sex with your daughter as I want because I've been going out with her for like 3 years, which means he's been going out with her since she was like 14. So there's about 2 minutes wasted on that, right? So when I was editing, I just cut that. I was semi-tempted to keep it in because it's so bad. It's just such a strange decision, especially because this is the same year, I believe, that the Harvey Weinstein shit went down. And this is just sitting in the movie, right? One of the biggest movies of the year just has this random paedophile scene in a movie for children. So I find that kind of insane, right? So then, after we get that out of the way, so when they were getting arrested when the CIA were trying to execute everybody, they sent out these little bug drone things, right? And Mark Wahlberg just grabs one of them, right? And then we don't see it for like the next 10 minutes. And then next thing we know, it's fucking plot relevant. He reverse engineers it or some shit so that it can fly his credit card to an ATM, right? And he uses the drone to stick the card in the ATM, and it says card locked, like the government has made it so he can't spend his money. And then he goes, I figured that was gonna happen. So we needed that, so that was easily cut as well, right? So just why don't you just have, it never comes up again. He never needs to spend money in the whole film. There's never a bit where he's at a shop and he's like, I really needed to buy that fucking bit of water, but I can't because my card's locked. There's never like a scene of him trying to get some money out or you know, trying to raise some money so he can buy some shit that he needs. Money is just like irrelevant for the rest of the movie. So I don't know why we needed this, right? So more time has been wasted on that. Now they keep driving. Optimus Prime scans some fucking lorry that's going past, and it just turns him into a new version. Like before this, he's all rusty and shit. And then just next thing we know, he's just like brand spanking new, right? The lorry that he scans is fucking grey, and then Optimus Prime comes out, it's like turning into this lorry. He just looks like all blue and fiery and stuff, which I know that's his brand, I know that's what he looks like, right? But I don't understand why that happened. I have no clue why that happened. So anyway, now we introduce, by the way, this is about an hour into the film, right? And we still have 2 plot lines left to introduce. Now we introduce 3 new fucking characters. Actually, no, four new characters, right? Fucking 4 new Autobots, right? Who, what are they called? Drift, Hound, the fucking green one, and Bumblebee, right? So they all show up and they sit around in a canyon somewhere, watching a fucking slideshow of the CIA executing random Autobots, right? And they're just going, that was fucking Dog Drog fucking 3000, rest in peace, Dog Drog. And it's like, the CIA are hunting us all down. And then Optimus Prime is like, whenever I find out who's behind all of this, he's going to die. And then they all decide they're going to Chicago for some reason, right? So in the last movie, Transformers Dark of the Moon, the last like hour of that was just Chicago just getting destroyed by the Decepticons, just like fucking everyone died. And one thing I remember about the start of this movie, they have a little montage of like news coverage of like the Chicago, you know, in recovery, you know, being rebuilt and stuff. And they're like, during the Chicago War, 3,000 people died. And it's like, no, fucking no. 3,000 people died in 9/11, and that was 2 buildings that got knocked down, right? This is like a fucking whole city, right? More than 3,000 people died, right? I don't understand why 3,000, right? If you want to be kid-friendly and not have, there's no death, just say no. Don't bring up a death count. If you're gonna bring up a death count, have a realistic death count. You look at the events of that movie, right? Dark of the Moon, easily, like 500,000 people dead. Right? That's a conservative estimate, right? Not 3,000, right? There's never a bit in Dark of the Moon where they're like, oh, we're evacuating Chicago. Nothing like that. So, no, 3,000 people didn't die. Anyway, 5 years later, right, after Chicago just got wiped off the map, Chicago's just back, right? It just looks the same as ever, right? Nothing different about it whatsoever, right? Bear in mind, with 9/11, it took them like fucking 13 years to rebuild fucking buildings, and they only built one of the 2 towers, which to me is like a sort of accepting defeat. To me, not building 1 tower is like letting the terrorists win. I would have built 3 towers, just like, yeah, fuck you, Al-Qaeda. But anyway, so now we're in Chicago. We introduce Stanley Tucci, who plays like Steve Jobs, basically, right? This is the 4th plot line that we're introducing an hour into the film. And here, Steve Jobs is, he's found that the stuff that dinosaur from the start of the movie, right, is made out of something. It wasn't metal, it was transformium. He is made out of transformium, right? Which everyone likes to take the piss out of that term. But to me, that is one of the least like offensively bad things about this movie. Like if it's made out of some new element, right, that's to do with Transformers, I don't see what else they are meant to call it, right? I don't have a problem with Transformium particularly. I do have a problem with the long scene that, where he's explaining how the Transformium fucking works, and he's just like, do you like music? And then the Transformium fucking cubes just turn into a fucking Bluetooth speaker, and he's like, yeah, Beats by Dre. So, anyway, right? He is trying to rebuild Optimus Prime in like a human form. They're building new Transformers that are run by humans, because the humans hate the Transformers so much they want to replace the Transformers with new Transformers. So, like, okay, right. So they're trying to build Optimus Prime, right, and they're using the head of Megatron for some reason, which is just sat in a lab, and they're using the head of Megatron to try and rebuild Optimus Prime. I don't know why they need the head of Megatron, by the way, but they do. Apparently, this happened 5 times. They try and build Optimus Prime, it just looks like Megatron, and they just keep disassembling Megatron and rebuilding him again. And then Stanley Tucci has a little shit fit where he's like, why can't I make what I want to make? Why can't we make Optimus Prime? And he just does that for some reason, right? And he just has a little shit fit. So, back to Mark Wahlberg and all them, who have now shifted over to Chicago, right? By the way, these guys are all meant to be undercover, and they're all like they're the most obvious fucking cars ever. There's a giant truck with fucking flames all over it, a Bugatti Veyron, fucking... no, just be a fucking Vauxhall Astra or something, just something inconspicuous, right? What's it? What's the thing in America? Ford F-150. Just make 3 of them, different colours. Anyway, so now they're setting up in a church, right? And Shane, the paedophile, is basically just there like, yeah, oh yeah, I really like to bang that 17-year-old. And then Mark Wahlberg is literally just like, just being a bit sarcastic about it. It's like, no, this is a fucking paedophile right here. Fucking just murk his ass, just fucking out of existence. Why is he in the film to begin with? All he does is he drives, right? As his only plot, as his only relevance in the plot. Why don't you just have Mark Wahlberg just drive? Just let him drive. Why don't you make fucking Tessa, the daughter, drive? She's just got a license. Make it like, that's a character trait for her. Why does Shane need to exist? His mere existence added like fucking 15 minutes of runtime just in scenes around him. And I couldn't get rid of him when I was editing it because then he just randomly appears and disappears. So I just had to keep the paedophile in the movie, right? So, Mark Wahlberg whips up a little plan to go into Stanley Tucci's KSI, right? Like the YouTuber. Funny enough, there's a cameo from some other YouTuber who was big around the time, who's since fallen off. I can't remember his name, but he was kind of like KSI. I think he was another FIFA YouTuber. Anyway, and KSI was relevant and big when this film came out, so I don't know why they called it KSI. Anyway, right? So Mark Wahlberg comes up, he hatches up a little plan to go inside the science lab, and I can't even remember what the fuck they're trying to do in there. They're trying to retrieve something or other, right? I don't even remember what. But at this point, half the plots just like they don't merge. They just sort of have a crossroads, right? So Harold Attinger, the head of the CIA, right? he rocks up. It turns out he's also doing a deal with Stanley Tucci to get human-built transformers to sit around and do something, right? To like help them invade Iraq or something like that, right? So Mark Wahlberg breaks in, he gets caught. Then they have a little meeting, like literally they're just like, oh yeah, see me in my office, please. And so Mark Wahlberg goes up to the office and he's having a bit of a chat, and Harold Attinger is like, this is the closest to a good scene in the movie, where it's like, you know, a load of people died, we want to make sure this doesn't happen again, right? And you're kind of being a liability here, right? I could get vaguely behind the idea, the plot thread of, you know, humans hating Transformers and wanting them all gone because they're just bringing trouble. I don't necessarily, I like that as a plot line. It's cool, it's all right, yeah? But I don't know why we need all this other shit alongside it, right? So Optimus Prime just has a shit fit, like, outside, and it's just like, oh, they killed one of my friends. We're just gonna go in there, just guns are blazing. So they go in there, guns are blazing, into the science lab, and he has a bit of a chat with Stanley Tucci, and Stanley Tucci is just like, yeah, we're building new ones of you, so we don't need you anymore. And then Optimus Prime just breaks down crying and just walks off, right? Okay. So they go away. Stanley Tucci goes into like some kind of military fucking like CIA boardroom for operations manual something, right? And it's just like, yeah, boot up Galvatron, right? So they're trying to build Optimus Prime using the head of Megatron, and they called him Galvatron, right? So I wonder where this is going to go. This is the 4th or 5th or 6th plot line in the movie, right? So they make Galvatron transform, right? And then there's another fucking chase sequence in Chicago, right? Which ends in Optimus Prime fighting Galvatron, and then Lockdown shows up with his ship, right? Which is fucking massive, by the way. It's like half the size of fucking Chicago. And he just kidnaps Optimus Prime, just puts him in a net. And alongside it, he accidentally takes Tessa, the daughter. So, all right. So now they're sat in a ship that's all made of CGI, and Mark Wahlberg needs to get his daughter back. So half an hour of the movie is wasted on this, and I couldn't cut it out because there's a couple, because I can't remember why I had to cut it out. I think I probably, if I was a better editor, I could have cut it all out, realistically, because nothing of worth happens. They go there, they get Tessa, right, and then they leave, right, with another chase sequence, right, but this time in the air with alien spaceships, right. So bear in mind, I've just skimmed over half an hour's worth of plot. In this, Harold Attinger, his lapdog, who's a guy, I think his name is Savoy, he goes onto the lockdown ship, right, and they do a deal with something called the Seed. So Lockdown hands over the Seed over to Savoy, and then Savoy leaves, and that's all something else. And Tessa overheard this deal happening, right? That's best I can explain it. Right, after that chase sequence, it doesn't matter. They're off the ship, right? And Optimus, the other Autobots, they free Optimus Prime, and they escape using basically an escape pod, which is like a third of the size of Lockdown's ship. And Lockdown doesn't realize that this fucking half his ship is missing as he just yeets off into fucking outer space at the speed of light. So, okay, all of that's just happened, right? So they park up somewhere outside of Chicago or something like that, and they have a load of dialogue just explaining what the final bit of the movie is going to be, right? We're now like over like an hour and 40 minutes into this movie by now, right? And this is when we introduce the 5th fucking plot line, which is Optimus Prime saying,
I sense in that thing the spirit of Megatron.
Right, and I was like, oh, okay. So, right, so at some point that's gonna happen, that's gonna be relevant. Megatron's gonna come out of Galvatron, because Galvatron was already going a bit out of control, the same way that AI kind of goes out of control now. So it's like, all right. So an hour 40 into the movie, we're introducing this. Okay, fine, right, all right. So they use the ship to go over to China, right? Stanley Tucci is also flown over to China because apparently the chase with Galvatron was too bait, right? So we need to move all operations to China for some reason, right? and they do the deal, and they give, Harold Attinger is meant to give Stanley Tucci the seed, and then Stanley Tucci is going to, apparently the seed is a bomb, right? Similar to what the creators at the fucking start of the movie were using, that when they just blasted the earth into, like, out of existence, right? So they're going to use the bomb in the Gobi Desert, right? Which, and the bit that they point to on the map is just like a bit of Mongolia. So they're just like, we're just going to bomb Mongolia out of existence. And this, it just gets overlooked. Okay, so they're just going to bomb Mongolia, and they're going to harvest all the transformium to get all the transformers they could ever fucking want, right? Okay, right. So now we're at the end of the movie, right? So we're all in China, the Autobots are in China, Stanley Tucci's in China, Harold Attinger's in China, Savoy's in China, Lockdown is in outer space, right? He realizes that Optimus Prime is gone, so he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. So he flies back to China, right? Where the big finale of the movie happens, right? So Galvatron wakes up, right, in some lab in China, and it's just like, I am Galvatron, right? And he literally, he just says that for some reason, and he just destroys everything, and he just makes a fucking army of more, like, Transformers to just go and wreak havoc over China, just sort of like blindly just destroying things and killing people for no real reason, right? So the Autobots are on their way to China, and Optimus Prime is sort of sat there like, oh, I don't like the humans, they're making me feel a bit sad. And then Mark Wahlberg has to give him a little peppy speech. Is like, you know, you gotta believe, Prime. You gotta believe in who we can be, because, you know, you gotta have faith in us, man, because we're trying our best here. All of this, right? There's one bit that I quite like, which is like, we all make mistakes. Making mistakes is human. And then when he says that, it just cuts to his daughter, just sat on another part of the ship. She's not part of the conversation. It just cuts over to her for no reason. It's like, yeah, she's a big mistake, isn't she? There's a whole other thing about his wife leaving him, right? Which just like doesn't go anywhere, right? Okay, so now they're all in China. Everybody's in China. Stanley Tucci is on the run from someone because the deal with Harold Attinger went through because I don't even fucking know. But basically, oh, I'm getting a call. Oh shit, this has gone on for so long. Right, I'm just gonna wrap it up. They fight for the rest of the movie, right? And I managed to just about finish this edit. I managed to just about get it under 2 hours. I'm gonna leave this video here because I need to go and meet someone. But if this made any sense to you, please leave a comment, because I don't think it did, right? But this is the plot to the fucking movie. And this is why I had such a struggle trying to edit it down. There's 4 fucking plots that could have been their own movie, right? And then after the fact, Hasbro wanted to make like 20 more Transformers films, but they've wasted like 4 ideas in one movie, and none of them got to be baked through to fruition. So you've just got like a load of fucking cookie batter that you just have to like slurp up. Oh, and there's dinosaurs that turn into robots, by the way. And they appear, they're the marketing premise of the movie, and they appear 2 hours, 15 minutes into the movie. In my edit, they turned up about 1 hour 30 into the movie. So, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. I need to go meet someone. Take care. Bye-bye. Little end of video note, because I know that kind of finished very, very quickly. I've got to go meet someone. But the reason I'm making this video isn't just to trash on Transformers Movie 4 for no reason. I wanted to finish it out by sort of saying, despite all of this, I kind of enjoy the movie, right? The reason I kind of enjoy the movie is I like movies that are bad in an interesting way, right? Transformers 4 is a hodgepodge of a load of different ideas, right? But the thing is, it's all done with one writer. Michael Bay had pretty much complete creative control, and it still turned out this bad. And to me, I just find that interesting. I find it interesting how the movie falls apart just so much. It's one of the strangest Hollywood things that I've ever seen, right? It's not a boring movie because I find myself laughing at it, almost like The Room, right? It's like that to me. I enjoy it for how utterly fucking shite it is, and nothing's going to take that away from Transformers: Age of Extinction. So I know I sound like I despise the movie, but there's a reason that I'm able to just rattle off the fucking plot of the movie. There's a reason I edited it. It was the first thing I ever edited. It's because amidst all of it, there's some fun ideas that could be nice, that could be good if they were in a good movie. They're not in a good movie, but I can just about imagine a good movie if it was done completely differently. So that was kind of the idea behind me trying to edit it, just to get a better glimpse of what that good movie could have been. I'm sorry I don't have the edit anymore. It's on my old computer. Like my computer's a decade old, and this is on my old computer, so over a decade ago. So I'm afraid it is long gone to history. But I do remember getting it just under the 2-hour mark and being like, yeah, hell yes. So, yeah, that's going to be it from me, finally. And, yeah, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.